Hey, what's poppin', guys? You got your boy Nandra here, back at it with another video. So for this video, we're gonna be finishing up my part 3 of my Rebirth of Glory set review. Now, first we have Amina, the Mad Eidolon. Amina, the Mad Eidolon, is a 4-mana 1/3 that has spam for if there isn't an enemy Totem of Madness into play, transform an enemy follower, excluding Amina Mad Eidolon into Totem of Madness. So this already right by itself is already pretty great effect text, as long as whatever the Totem of Madness is actually playable. So let's go and scroll down, we look, and we see that, oh, if it's last words, if there isn't an enemy Totem of Madness in play, transform a random enemy follower, excluding Mad Eidolon into Totem of Madness. Right, so you're looking at that and we're like, okay, sure, that's like still fine. It's not great, it's not awful either, but of course, you know, like, it's one of those, there's more that, you know, meets the eyes, yes, like Transformers. Now, it's really funny because she actually does transform an enemy follower. So of course we have to keep reading, keep reading on, and we see that she has Clash. If an enemy Totem of Madness is in play, give the enemy follower -4/-0 until the end of turn. So basically that means that she cannot go down in battle. Like, she only goes down to battle to bait units. That's it. Otherwise she can only be killed with either banish or effect damage or just destroy effects. Otherwise she just like stays in play, and that's already pretty crazy. Let's go and keep looking down. We see that she also has an evolve effect. So in her evolved effect, in her evolved mode, you see that we have, whenever you play a counter amulet for the first time on each of your turns, subtract 4 from this count, and that's insane. That's strong as hell. So that means that possibly you can go ahead and go, like, say, I mean, you can possibly do things like, say, go like turn 4 Amina evolve, going second into you know, she's just gonna be a 3/5 that doesn't die, like, and probably kills whatever she fights. Well, either doesn't kill it or at least maims it and makes it inactive. Then like next you can play, I don't know, like, say, like, maybe you can, like, say, play like Barong or something like that, and boom, a Barong pops. You get 2 Barongs for the price of 1. Yes, one will probably get transformed, but you still have the second one. That's really cool. It also means that for like for higher costed amulets, that they suddenly become more playable. Now, granted, most amulets that I see play, most amulets that get printed, they usually don't have higher than a countdown 3 anyway. So most times you're just gonna get whatever amulet play out for free. That's great. Now, the countdown to, sorry, the effect of the Totem of Madness, that part makes it a little bit harder, because of course you want the Amina to have her Clash effect always active. That means your opponent's always going to have the Totem of Madness. So that means that, like, you guys will both kind of be like circle jerking totems of madness back and forth, doing some annoying ass things with it. However, thankfully, because you're playing Haven, you do have the ability to just like not play a creature on the turn where the Totem of Madness is going to pop, except of course, you know, like, make sure they have out the Amina. That's pretty cool. I like that part a lot. Now, this effect is sort of a temporary effect, because basically I should be immune for 2 turns. So you have 2 turns to do some, oh, sorry, 1 turn, well, 1.5 turns, to do some kind of crazy ass stuff with it before she finally dies. Because I promise you, like, the second the Totem of Madness runs out, your opponent is going to kill her. She's going to die. That's just how that's just what's going to happen. So you have 2 turns to make that work, and I don't know what at the moment you can play to make it work. But as a tech card, this card is insane. Like, this card kills literally every single problematic unit that you'd like to play, unless of course the unit is a stealth unit, just because it just transforms and just says goodbye, just banished. But of course, it's the best kind of banishing. It's a transformation type effect. That means no last words, no seraph, nothing. Just you have that amulet, you day. So this card is good. I don't know where this card is going to see play though, because, like, for this kind of card to work, you want to be playing out creatures that you don't mind getting transformed into being the Eidolon of Madness. You also want to be playing out things that let you take advantage of the fact that your opponent has nothing and can't really fight back. So I think this card is maybe good if you're playing out in, like, say, like some kind of weird, like, Control Haven. So yeah. Next we have Alana, Purest Prayer. Yes, this is the girl off of Alana, so yes, this is the namesake. You had to have known that at some point this card was going to get printed. So this card is the second Haven legendary. It's a 2-mana 2/2, has Ward, and then has Evolve, Summon Alana's Prayer. This is a very strong effect, because it's not put one into your hand. No, it's put it into play. Put it into play is one of the strongest effect texts you can have, and this is no exception. So Alana's Prayer, if you don't actually know what that is because you run around during DE, is whenever your leader's defense is restored, give +1/+1 to all allied followers. So that means basically, I heal, I do X. And that's very strong because most times what that means is that you're going to go ahead and get very, very beefy creatures. Because, like, for example, just using the Alana by herself, that means if you play out the Alana, you go ahead and you evolve her. If you heal once, Alana is now 2 mana 5/5. 2 mana 5/5, that's crazy. If you heal twice, 2 mana 6/6. That's, you can see how that gets top hand, right? Because you kind of turn like little rinky dink small creatures right into very, very like beefy massive powerhouses that have been clearly taking steroids. That's basically what's happening here. Oh, I should explain one more thing. So before I move on, I just want to cover that, like, immediately after this card was leaked and whatnot, immediately on ladder we saw like a giant ass influx of people who were playing Tankershrine. Amusingly enough, or ironically enough, Tankershrine is actually rotating out this set, so people aren't going to be able to play this and Alana in the same deck. At least not in rotation. You can do this shit in Unlimited, but not in rotation. In Unlimited, this gives the Alana decks more power because now you can go ahead and you can play this card, and you can also play like the OG Alana Amulet itself. So that's a lot of power there. For rotation, obviously, of course, we're going to see Jax built around this card. However, I would like to point out that right now there is exactly one way to search for this card, and that way is not consistent unless you make it consistent, and that card has a lot of other issues. That card is Manifestation of Faith. So it may be possible for you to like do something like nonsense like that, but I don't think you would, and nor do I think you should. But maybe that's actually correct. I really feel like it's not, though. Anyway, moving on. Next we have the Holy Marksman Kell. Holy Marksman Kell is a great card, and obviously, of course, it gets even better under Alana's. So this card is whenever you the leader or player heal for any amount, 0, 1, 20, whatever. Deal 1 damage to all enemy followers. That's just his base effect. That's already pretty good because it makes him kind of like Sutera, sort of. And then evolve, restore 2 defense to your leader. And then again, same effect, but now when he heals, you deal 2. So that makes him basically like, if you evolve this guy, that's like playing a heavily offensive version of Ancient Lion Spirit for 4 mana. So Ancient Lion Spirit, if you want to remember, it was the 5 mana 4/5 that gained no stats on evolve, but when you evolved it, it dealt 2 damage to the enemy board. But this guy, when you evolve it, gets full stats in Evo and heals for 2, then procs his effect, and his effect is a static effect. So anytime you heal, you're gonna trigger this effect, backing it out of hand really quickly and very, very fast. So this card is great. This card is like, I think this card is good enough that you'll see it played in non-Alana decks, just because the effect, that's one of the strongest evolve effects that we've seen from Haven in a while. So next we have Golden Bell. Golden Bell is a revamp on Sacred Plea. This one is just like fanfare, restore 1 defense to your leader. Again, look at how that triggers that. Look at how that triggers this. And you're gonna kind of see that being a recurring theme with these cards, just because, like, again, Alana's is a very, very fan favorite card. I mean, of course, some people hate it, some people love it, but it's definitely a heavily anticipated card, I guess. So draw 2 is still very good as it stands. When Sacred Plea left the first time and we got Globe with the Stars, many people were very, very upset. Of course, this is still the same thing. It's still very, very powerful for what it does. So expect this card to see play in any good Haven deck, I think. So next we have the Robo Wing Precont. Robo Wing Precont is a 2 mana 2/2 that has Pamper, put a repair wound into your hand, and whenever you play another Machina card, gain Bane. So this card is good because if you play this card on, there are a lot of cute combos you can do this card. Like, for example, you can play this card, then play Robo Wing Falcon to then give Rush and Bane to this girl and make her a 3/3. That's really cute. But most importantly, this card is a fighter that, like, if for some reason you wanted to play Machina Alana, which I think is gonna be like one of the better Haven decks going forward, you do have to play this girl just because she gives you repair modes to your hands, and that's very, very good, just because the repair mode is a very, very nice healing effect, just because, again, it triggers this girl, it triggers the Alana, it triggers the Kell. Like, there's a lot of synergies to be had there. Additionally, it gets you off of playing things like, say, Robo Wing Falcon if you didn't want to play it, just because, again, a 2/2 in Haven is better than a 1/3 in Haven, only because Haven doesn't really prioritize creature combat. They really more or less prioritize trying to, like, one for one cards and try to, like, scale into the late game. Next we have Heretic Priest. Heretic Priest is a 6-mana 6/5 fanfare. Choose, put either Forbidden Teachings or Red Hot Boots into your hand and change the cost to 0. So one, I just want to quickly point out that like it's good that this is changed the cost to 0 because both of these cards would not have seen play unless of course they got reduced, because if you're gonna play this card to do that, it'd be an 8-mana play. 8-mana plays in Haven are very, very hard to justify. So alright, so first we have the Forbidden Teachings, which is it's a draw 2 effect, but like it has the drawback of give your leader the following effect. Followers can be played. You can play spells that become followers, but you can't play followers that are followers. This effect lasts until the start of your opponent's turn. However, you can get around this if you have a City of Gold in play, because City of Gold would reduce the countdown to 0 immediately. But because you've already played the card, it just means you can't play like more things. So if you're doing on curve, you get around the effect. So it's pretty nice. The other card is Red Hot Boots. Red Hot Boots is a fanfare, deals 3 damage to enemy followers. This is good. So I like this card a lot. I think this card is going to be better in limited formats and probably not as good in constructed formats. Like it might be good in constructed, but I'm pretty sure this is for effect that you want it unlimited, just because like, it's simple to the point, but it doesn't do anything flashy. But there's also just like not a really good home for it at the moment either, which is the other issue. Next we have Passing of Lore. Passing of Lore is choose, put either Sacred Teachings, which is the Falcon, put a Healing Prayer, which is a heal card for Lana decks, and put Acolyte Sight, which is a general good stuff kind of card, into your hand. So this card is nice. This card will see play because it has a lot of flexibility, because like you get either Storm, Heal, or Removal. All 3 of those are things that at some point you're gonna probably want while you're playing, and all of this on a 1-mana card is very, very good. Now keep in mind that like because this is a choose card, you're not actually playing the cards themselves. That does mean that you will end up playing each of these cards for 1 mana more than you would play it ordinarily. So what you have to ask yourself is that like, can I go ahead and can I set things up in a way where I go ahead and I play out what I want, and I play this card for what I want the turn before, then play the card, and then kind of go from there. Otherwise, you're paying 3 mana to do this, 4 mana to do this, and 6 mana to do this, which is not as tenable. But if you're paying these for the actual cost, then it becomes a little bit better. But either way, this card is a very, very good card, just because choose cards historically have been very, very good for this game, and this card's no exception. Next we have Tender Rabbit Healer. So this is a 1/1 that has spam for restore 1 defense to all allies, and then enhance 7 game plus 4 restore, and then restore 4 defense instead. I'm really straight up with you guys. I don't like this card. Like I know what it does. I don't like this card because of what it does. So I talk about this all the time in like the Discord and things like that, but like one thing that I see people do all the time is I see people just like jamming cards that like say just because they have something like relevant keyword. Like for example, and I've talked about this at length, but like once a month or something like that, I usually face a person on ladder no less, who's playing some kind of weird ass like, oh, every single creature in my deck has ward, just because they have like PTSD about like facing aggro decks and whatnot. That's not a good way to deck build. It's like really, really bad. And this card is only ever great if you have the Alana's Prayer in hand. If you have the Alana's Prayer or you have the Tenko Shrine or whatever, and otherwise it's very, very underwhelming. Maybe if you have the Kel, it's also okay as well. But otherwise, this is a 1/1 in a deck that I literally just got done saying that like it doesn't really do creature combat that well. So having 1/1s is not a spot where they want to be at. So I don't think this card is that good. I think this card will see play again, initially, just because like there are a lot of things you can do with it. But I think that like as time goes on, this card will be one of the cards that gets cut when people start finalizing or like refining the deck list and whatnot. So just like be wary of that. Next we have Steelwing, 1 fantastic 10 out of 10 TM. So this is a 5-mana 4/5. Rush has whenever the Swallow attacks summon an assembly droid. Again, those are the 1/1s. So this card is very, very good. This card is good for obviously for Christopher Machina decks. This card also gets standalone, just because again he is a 5/6 in stats, and he gives you 2 creatures, and then you can just evolve the second creature you get. So if you're playing an evolved deck, he's pretty good there too. Now that being said, of course you're obviously going to want to play an Machina deck, just because it's offensive. It has to be killed. And you just get two more stacks for Lamonia to get you 2 stacks closer to your Aegis. That's always great. And of course, there are other cute things you can do with it as well, such as, for example, healing this guy up, or possibly like playing Robo Falcon on the other thing and healing that up, and doing all sorts of like cute things. So the card is good. Next we have the Fervid Heavenly Hound. One, really quickly, why does that doggo look so angry? Holy crap! So he's a ward with fanfare if an involved ally follower is in play, gain +2/+0. So this is basically just a more offensive Heavenly Hound. I don't think I've seen Heavenly Hound in quite a few years, so I don't know if this card to see play. I feel like it would, just because again, this card was also a fan favorite back when he was in Standard. So I'm pretty sure this will still be the same here, but I don't know. I just don't know. Now we have Pinion Lake. Pinion Lake is a countdown 3 fanfare if you have more cards in your hand than your opponent. Subtract 1 from the countdown of the same last word. Summon an adamantium bird. Yes, you get to summon Wolverine. That's also a bird. Easy peasy. So adamantium bird is a 3/5. That again, very, very cool name. It has rush, and that's pretty good stat line. It's yet another OG card. So I think this card would be pretty good, just because like you can make it so you have countdown 2, so this card becomes countdown 2 pretty easily. Additionally, if you're playing City of Gold, which is like where you're gonna really want to play this in, you can make it so the card has countdown 1 and then procs on the next turn. That's a lot of stats. It's a lot of beef coming out. And again, because it's self-sufficient, because it can trade on its own, that frees you up to do other things with your turn. So I like this card if you're playing a City of Gold type deck, in which case that's like great. Because right now City of Gold is actually not that good in rotation. It's great in Unlimited, because in Unlimited there are a lot of really good amulets that become either countdown 0 or countdown 1 and become really good. But in rotation, we don't have as many of those. I think we only have like 5 or 6 total at the moment. Moving on, we have Magna Giant for Portal Craft. Magna Giant is a 7-mana Machina legendary. Accelerate 1, put a random Machina card, excluding Magna Giant from your deck to your hand. It's great that it says card and not just creature, which means you can search for like Machina amulets and Machina spells as well, which is cool. Then it has ward, and then fanfare, deal X damage to all enemy followers. X equals the amount of allied Machina followers you've had destroyed during this match. So this card is basically a retrain of Magna Legacy. Magna Legacy is a 8-mana 6/6 that has the same effect, except just swap where it says Machina to being artifacts. So Magna Legacy was pretty good as a tech choice, and this card would be pretty good too. Obviously, of course, this card would probably be slightly better and slightly worse than the Magna Legacy. Magna Legacy was pretty good because he was also 6/6 at the end of the day, and 6/6s are kind of hard to kill. However, Magna Legacy did not have ward, and this guy has ward. Additionally, this guy helps you curve your Baphomet. You get to curve Baphomet into this guy, into playing one of the Furies. Most likely you want to try to play either Electo, or you want to try to play Electo, Megara, or Chisapone, but most times you're going to want to play either Electo or Megara in that kind of situation after playing this card, because most times this guy should just like nuke away the board. So this card's pretty good for that. Of course, there's still like some of the issues that the Machina portal has, but this guy kind of shores up some of them, so that's good. I like it. Next we have Zwei, the Resonant Heart. So she has Accelerate 2, summon 2 puppets, fanfare, put 2 puppets into your hand, and then evolve, summon a Victoria. Victoria is the first strike, 3/1. So this card is a nice ball of stats. So I like this card a lot, but and this card is one of those like more interesting cards. This card's one of those kind of like good stuff support cards, which like it doesn't necessarily do anything on its own, but it does kind of give you a curve to maybe later down the line create a deck in which this card gets included in it. Now, I know some people like say, "Oh, well, like this card's not a card that Portal wants." I disagree. I think this card's like very, very strong when you're actually evolving it and whatnot. Just because in aggro matchups, which is historically a matchup that like Portal sometimes struggles in, this card can possibly clear up 5. Sorry, not 5. It can possibly clear up like 4 units, or on average just 3 units, which is very, very strong for an evolve effect. Just because you have the 4/4 who trades into something small, you have Victoria who possibly trades into something bigger, and they have the puppets who kill off weakened units. So it's really good. Very, very flexible card when you can actually like evolve her. Now, yes, of course, that does mean that like it's harder to play in like Maisha decks and whatnot, but this does mean that like if you're playing it in a Maisha deck, you have the ability to just like accelerate it for 2 and basically just like treat it as a wind up. Or of course you can actually evolve 1 and then hold like your second evolve for Maisha, and that's great too. But yeah, lots of ways to play with this card. And I do think this card is like a lot better than people are giving credit for initially. So Next we have Artifact Duplicator, who is Fanfare randomly summon a copy of different artifact colors destroyed during this match onto your area's full. So right now, this card is interesting, but this card is also part of a puzzle, because right now, at the moment, there's a total of, I believe, six different artifact colors they can play. There is Ancient, Analyzing, Mystic, Radiant, Prime, and Bifurcating. So of those 6, only three of them are actually seen commonly enough, and that's the 2 1-drops. So the Ancient and the Analyzing, and then also the Bifurcating, because Bifurcating is also kind of cheap. You don't see Mystics played that often, if ever. You don't see Primes played ever, and you maybe see Radiance as a very, very fringe kind of thing. It means like you maybe see it like once every 40 games where we're playing versus Artifact Portal. So we're playing versus Artifact Portal in rotation, and in Unlimited that might be a different story, but in rotation you don't see those last 3 that often. So most times this card is just gonna be a 7 mana 5/5 that pulls you out a 3/1 rush, a 2/1 card that replaces itself, and a 2/2 vanilla. So that's cute, but I don't know if that's good enough. I feel like it's not. I know some people said, but Nandro, but what if you get the Radiant to play? Because the Radiance is the way you want to be at. So in order for you to get the Radiant to play, that means you have to actually play out the Radiant, which is kind of hard because Radiant is kind of clunky, and usually it incentivizes play patterns that would get you punished, which means to say, oh, playing out the Radiant and then just going face it. That's Radiant face is actually not that good to play unless it's actually killing your opponent, or unless you're doing something or unless you're kind of doing some kind of crazy ass augmentation turn, in which case the board is cleared. In which case, oh yeah, then of course at that point, Radiant base is fine. But you don't really do that as often. Additionally, this card itself is a 7 mana card with literally no actual things you can do off of it. Like it doesn't have an excel, it doesn't have any kind of implicator. So it's always gonna be a 7 mana card and a kind of already kind of heavy combo deck. So I don't think this card is that good. Like you already had Tile, and Tile herself isn't even that good in the first place. Like Tile most times usually just gets excelled, and that's I don't know. We have Aerocraft. Aerocraft is a Fanfare enhanced 7, game +1/+1, Storm, and then Strike. Whenever this follower attacks, subtract 1 from the cost of all Machina cards in your hand. So this card is basically Gawain. Gawain from the Round Table is the card that was in Swordcraft back during around Tempest of the Gods or so. It only really came into its own when we had things like, say, Arthur and whatnot, and we got a plethora of really great commanders in Rakashaduce, and this so you can kind of just sit and terrorize your opponents. That's not currently the case in Portalcraft right now, because right now you have Belphmet, which is good, but playing Belphmet on 6 is just as fine, because the Furies will always cost 8, unless of course you're doing something weird thing where you're playing this guy first, evolve it, trade, playing Belphmet on 5, evolve that Search Superior to your hand, playing this guy again on 6, evolve it, and then playing a Fury on 7. That's a lot of resources, and you're not actually doing that much. You're basically doing some kind of roundabout way to search for a Fury, which with all of what you're doing, that Fury almost 100% has to be either Chisopone or Electo, and if it's Megara, you've probably lost that game. So I don't like this card yet, but I think this card is one of those cards that you have to keep an eye on. Now, yes, it getting Storm is very, very good, but again, it's one of those very rarely, as Portalcraft, you just kind of get to win by storming face early, storming face in the early mid game, in the early to mid game. Yeah. Now we have the Gear Tuner. Gear Turner. So the first time I saw this card, I was like, okay, Statline is a 1/1 or whatever, but that means it's gonna have a lot of utility. No, just not. So I actually don't like this card at all. It's whenever an ally puppet comes in play, restore 1 defense earlier. I don't like this effect at all, just because the puppet style decks, Portal as a whole, it relies on what I like to call carpet bomb trading, in which it clears everything. It's just every single turn, all of these creatures, if they can kill them, they're just dead. That's just how it is. And as a result, most times if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not just versus a hard aggro deck or whatever, you should be at a decent amount of HP where you don't actually need to heal, because you should just have everything going, and nothing your opponent plays should be sticking. So I don't like this card for that reason. Oh wait, does this happen to evolve? No, it does not. Alright, next we have Icarus, the Sunbound Wing. Icarus is 4 mana 3/3. Fanfare, put a random non-artifact card that costs 1 play point or less from your deck into your hand, and then evolve, do the same thing, but this time put it into play. So this card is very, very strong. I like this card a lot because like this card is basically a mix of Hawk Robbie as well as OG Icarus. So the thing I like most about this card is that it searches specifically for 1 play point cost artifacts, which means that like it's gonna get you either Ancients or Analyzings. Of course, you know which it gets is gonna be like sometimes random, but sometimes you're gonna be able to get what you want. I like that one comes into play and one goes into your hand, just because like this way, if you need to fight on board, cool, you can fight on board. If you need to set up some kind of crazy ass combo, cool, you can set up some kind of crazy ass combo. Like right now, where Portal and current rotation, as well as Unlimited wants to be at, is want to have a billion 1-drops, and also have the opponent have a big board, so you can go and like just like play Acceleratium into Augmentation Bestowal, and then go and like play out like 12, like, well, not 12, but like usually about like 5 or 6 1 costs. So this way you basically get to like double your mana pool for that one turn, and then try to OTK people with like a Maestro or something like that, which you can do pretty realistically on 8, as long as you just have like 2 of those in play. Sorry, as long as you have one of each card, and you have again like the 5 or 6 1 costs, and just like pop off. This card kind of works towards that game plan. It's very, very strong. Now, thankfully, it's not like overbearingly strong. It's still just it'll still have Portal Craft, have some of the same like weaknesses it has, but it's still a good card, especially because you can play the card going first and not feel bad. So yeah, I like it. Next we have Meta Division. Meta Division is a 1 mana spell. It lets you put a Radiant artifact into your deck, and then at the end of your turn, draw a card. So it's basically like Meta Production, except this time you just you swap out the Analyzing that you get for a Radiant. Now, I said before that like Radiants are kind of hard to play, and they are. And by playing this card, you put yourself at risk of drawing a Radiant when you need to draw like an Analyzer, or you need to draw like an Ancient or something like that. And that's a problem. However, on the flip side, this card also makes your deck overall more consistent, because like you're just gonna like swapping cards and like filtering through your deck, and as long as you don't draw specifically the Radiant itself, you're good to go. Because you basically just like change one card for a different card, and maybe that helps you like get your combos into order, in which case maybe you pop up hard enough that it does matter that you like compromise your deck with a Radiant. So I like this card quite a bit. If Meta Protection saw play, this card will definitely see play, because they basically do about the same thing. They just do it in different ways. Next we have Cat Gunner. Cat Gunner is well, I can see that a Cat Gunner is gonna be in like my top 5 or top 6 of cute cards that I really like. I really like this expansion, just because like for those of you who were not aware, I actually like really enjoyed Cat Cannoneer, just because it has a very, very cute entry line. Blasters aren't cheap, meow. It's very nice. Like honestly, like the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, I'm no more. I just burst out into laughter. Now this card is a 2/1 with Rush that has Fanfare, put 2 Ancient artifacts in your deck again. Being able to spam Ancients is going to be really good versus aggro, just because you get to just like mop up the board. Yeah, so this card's going to be good. I like this card a lot. And again, because you now have like Augmentation Bestowal, as long as you have Augmentation Bestowal, you basically get to like make these into rushing, analyzing artifacts, which is like very, very cute. Next we have Hamlin, the Fey Flautist. He is he's literally the Pied Piper here, but but he's 4 mana 4/3. Fanfare, select a follower in your hand that originally cost 3 play points or less, and then go ahead and put a copy of that follower into your hand. And then when you evolve, you get to do the same thing. So this card is interesting. So this card can give you a +2 to hand size. It sets up for combos, like so if you know you're gonna be able to like generate the artifacts already, then generate and draw the artifacts and try it naturally, then this card's gonna be better than Icarus. But Icarus is more than medium, and I think because we saw Icarus first, you're probably more likely to play Icarus than you are to play this card. But maybe there's like things you want to like copy that aren't in just artifact portal. Like maybe you want to copy like a puppet or something like that. Then like, that's like cool. You can like copy with this guy, or you also like copy things like say Maisha as well, and that's like pretty good too. I don't know. If Old Hamlin was good, I wonder if this card is good too. Like, so this is definitely one of those cards you have to play with or whatever, because Old Hamlin was broken because he was 2 mana, but this one is not broken because it's 4 mana, so we're gonna have to find out. Next we have the Mechanical Mammoth. Mechanical Mammoth is a 6 mana 5/6 that has enhanced 9 gain +3/+3, and then if Resonance is active for you gain Rush. So I kind of wish that when he had the enhanced that he would just automatically gain Rush, but he does not. So I don't really like this card. This card is very clearly draft chaff, which like you're only gonna play it in like limited formats, and usually just because like you need to have something at the end of your curve. In constructed formats, obviously he's pretty terrible because he does nothing that any of the 3 possible portal decks want. So yikes. Now, in limited formats, he's obviously like a little bit better than I'm giving him credit for, but he's still pretty bad. So, and then we have Puppet Shock. Puppet Shock is the quintessential deal 4 for 3, and then do X. So this card's pretty good. I like it. You get a puppet in your hand. Now that being said, even though I like the card, just because again it literally does what it's supposed to do. It doesn't do anything extra. And Portal Craft at the moment doesn't really need it. Like I think if you're playing this card, you'd probably play it in like a Maisha deck, which is like fine. It's like pretty good there because you can possibly kill off 2 things. So that's like better. But at the moment, I personally don't really like it because I don't really like that type. I don't really enjoy that type of playstyle that much. So for me, it's like not great. Now moving on, we come to the neutrals. So first you have Olivia the Blackened Wing. Olivia is a 8 mana 5/5 that has the following effect. Fanfare, recover X play points. X equals the number of allied followers evolved during this match. And then on each of your turns, whenever you play another follower for the first time, give it the ability to evolve for 0 evolution points. So basically, this is a neutral, supercharged version of Luminous Mage. Luminous Mage is a card that existed back during TCG. It gave a lot for evolves, did a lot of crazy ass things. It was such a good card. And this card is good too. So again, like right now, as we're sort of like starting to see now with the as we're starting to see now with the evolve package, giving evolving more than like 3 or 4 times and over the course of the game is like broken. It's like it's so good. It's just it helps you keep trading and it helps you keep like scaling into the late game. Now, this card itself is very good at doing that. Now, of course, you actually don't need to evolve that many times in order to get the because I know. Sorry, you don't need to evolve that many times in order to get like get mileage out of the effect. I know some people have been like, oh, well, what if you don't evolve 10 times or whatever over the course of the game? Yeah, I don't think you need to evolve 10 times. I think as long as you evolve at least 3 to 4 times, which mind you, again, like everyone starts off with 2 evolves. So as long as you get like 2 or 3 evolves from like other sources over the course of the game, this card is very good because you can make it you can make it a 5 mana 5/5 with the ability to give free Evo points. Of course, the more you evolve, the better and better it gets. On top of that, I would like to quickly point out that, like, in particular, I think this card is gonna be insane in both Rune, Forest, and Dragon. In particular, Dragon, because obviously, of course, Dragon has the most play points, so therefore they can play it out the fastest. They also have the ability to evolve off of a few different sources. Forestcraft, because Forestcraft evolves actually the most right now in rotation. More than Runecraft actually by a very slight margin, and getting the ability to play at things like, say, a Cynthia and have the Cynthia evolve for free is ridiculous. Or yeah, that's just ridiculous actually. And the other one, the other one is Rune. The reason why I'm saying Rune is because what you can do with this card is you can go ahead and you can it can make some kind of crazy ass plays where, like, for example, you can go ahead and like play. You can go ahead and you can later in the game you can play out a Ginger for like 6, right? Play out a Ginger for like 6 or like less mana or whatever, like off some kind of weird top deck, and then go ahead and like play this card, regain a bunch of play points, then go ahead and start popping off with your Ginger turn. It's very similar to the whole using out a using Solomon's Ring to get a Clark, and then basically have double the play points that they would have ordinarily in a turn, essentially. This one's though is a little bit more tricky and not as just, you know, handed to you on a silver platter, but it is an option, and then because it's an option, that makes it something worth considering, I think. So yeah, so this card is basically gonna be like, how good this card is basically like how good the EVA package manages to stay. Obviously, of course, as the EVA package cycles out, this card will get like less and less good. But for now, this card is gonna be ridiculous, I think. Next, we have Zeus the Supreme. So first off, one, rest in peace, Thor. So like when I first saw this card in the trailer, I didn't know it was Zeus. I literally thought it was gonna be Thor. I was like, oh, okay, cool, because like we had literally just seen Odin in the last set or whatever, and we saw like Loki a few sets ago. So I'm just, you know, over here thinking, okay, yeah, you know, like we're gonna get Thor, easy peasy, Thor, yep. Of course, I was also baited by having watched Avengers Endgame as well, but yeah, so. Ooh, sorry about that. So now we have Zeus. So Zeus is a 10 mana 5/5. If you don't remember, like the OG Zeus was pretty broken too. So let's go and find out if this Zeus is good. This guy is Fanfare. Randomly activate one of the following effects X times, and X equals the number of allied followers evolved during this match. One option is restore 5 defense to your leader, gain +3/+0 and ability to ignore ward, gain +2/+1 in storm, gain +1/+2 in bane, and gain +0/+3 in ward. So basically, like, this dude is basically like an evolve based stat meatball win con. So if you evolve enough times, one of those rolls is going to give storm, and the fact that like 3 of the 4 rolls give more and more offensive stats means that very, very easily you could possibly just like hit your opponent in the face for like 9 or 10 or something stupid like that and just like win. In particular, like I believe some people like Potwasher did some like quick calcs or, you know, quick maths, and found out that like as long as you evolve like 6 times, that like the odds of Zeus getting storm is very, very high. So that's pretty good. Of course, like I said before, I've literally seen games where people like say Blood and such like that have been able to evolve 9 times over the course of the same game. Now, of course, you're obviously thinking, well, if you evolve 9 times, how the fuck is the game not over yet? But that is actually a thing they can do. So in situations like that, I do think that Zeus the Supreme will be very, very good. Like I said, if both Olivia is good, then Zeus will be good for the exact same reason, and pretty much in the exact same classes. Now, for Zeus in particular, I think it's gonna be very, very good in Rune if you can actually manage to evolve, if you can actually, you know, manage to like heal and you know, last that long and whatnot, and do it. Because what I like about it in particular is that like the restore 5 defense, that part is more important than you might think. Or sorry, yeah, it's more important than you might think. Just because like what that means is like in the Ginger Rune decks or whatever, what you can do is you can go ahead and, you know, play out a 1 mana Zeus, whatever. Sorry, a 0 mana, or is it 1 mana? I don't remember. Play out a discounted Zeus, and then go ahead and like start like healing your face up in like Reno Jackson style, and then go ahead and get a lot of stats, and also like go ahead and pop off and do things like that. Per Forest, obviously, of course, you might still just like play Evo Zudia, but if for some reason you don't want to play Zudia as your top end, which is fair, because you just want to like jam Cynthia's, you can come like play this guy instead, and just, you know, like still just like smack people in the mouth for a billion damage and just like win. For Dragon, you're also probably gonna see this played as well for 2 reasons. 1, this guy has possibility against Storm. 2, this guy's selling your rampant too. That's not Satan. And then 3, this guy is also just a stat meatball. So next we have Erd, the Goddess of Restoration. So Erd is spam for destroy follower. If it is an ally follower, randomly summon a copy of an ally follower with the same name destroyed during this match. And if it's an enemy follower, randomly summon an enemy copy of an enemy follower with the same name destroyed during this match. So basically, like, it's like old Erd, except this one has a little bit more stats. It summons the exact same name and not like a different instance of the. Or no, or maybe it is a different instance of the card, but either way, this is Erd, and this is an Erd that's made in such a way that like right now it's hard for me to see that many decks that can actually like abuse this one. So I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think at the moment the only deck that I think can super abuse this card is decks that are playing Hulking Dragonutes. This way you would have like multiple Hulking Dragonutes if they don't kill the first one. But I feel like that's like kind of slow. Yeah, kind of slow. So I don't know. Next we have Angelic Smite. So Angelic Smite is a nice play. Is a nice play on the whole Angelic Snipe. This one is obviously, of course, way better. So this one is a 4-mana spell, banish an enemy follower or amulet, both players draw a card. This is a fantastic tech choice. So what I like about this card in particular is that they released this card when also printing a bunch of different things that probably require being banished. Like, so for example, this card off the top of my head, it can banish Alana, it can banish Seraph, it can banish Destruction in White, Destruction in Black, it can banish Hulking Dragonoid, it can banish like all these nice problematic creatures. Just goodbye. Goodbye, get gone. Amulets too, goodbye, get gone. And of course, both players get to draw cards, so both players will feel pretty good about playing it. Which is one of the other issues about tech choices in this game, is that most of the tech choices don't actually feel that good to play. This card actually feels pretty good to play, so I like this card quite a bit. Next we have Unica, Unicorn Maiden. So Unica, as always, doing her dance, doing her thing, starting her stuff on the walkway. Oof. She has strike whenever the smaller attacks, restore 2 defense to your leader. So it's basically she's like, as usual, a pretty offensive board. Your opponent will have to go ahead and clear her off, or otherwise they just like risk you healing indefinitely. Now this is interesting. Now this version is actually in a way it's a nerf version of the card. Well, it's a nerfed and or buff version of the card. It depends on like how you think about it. So if you're playing on curve, then this card is. If you're playing on curve, then this card's actually kind of nerfed, because like if you run into a situation where you went second, right? You go to play Unica on 2, and then your opponent responds with like a 2/3 ward. You can't actually get to heal because you need to attack in order to get the heal, but you can't actually attack into the 2/3 ward, right? But if you're evolving, they get to heal immediately if you need to heal immediately. So like there are trade-offs, right? There are definitely trade-offs, and that's important here. Yeah, cute card. I don't think I would play it, but like I think that like if you're struggling for 2-drops in rotation, it's a good 2-drop for you. If you're struggling versus aggro, this is a good 2-drop for you. Next we have Apollo. Apollo is invocation at the start of your turn. If you have at least 2 play points and no cards in play, and your opponent has at least 1 more card in play than you, put this card from your deck into play, and Fanfare Enhanced 9, game +7/+7, and ward. So this is basically like take 2 fodder. It's good if you somehow bricked, because it's basically like soaking up. It's like a 2 damage ward that like doesn't actually kill creatures, but at least it buys you some time to actually like start playing out real cards. In constructed though, this card's not good because you're not gonna want to play it in literally anything. So, but still, it's good for the limited formats. It kind of like shines bright like a diamond, honestly, I guess is where I'm gonna go with this, because every now and then, like, we've all been there. Like, we're playing Take 2, we go ahead and we make our mulligan, and then we go ahead and we just like brick on our turn 2 or brick on our turn 3 or something like that. We're just like, very sad, and we lose the game because Take 2 as well as Open 6 are pretty tempo driven. So yeah, so this card helps with that immensely. It's a nice nod. Next we have Hoverboard Mercenary. Hoverboard Mercenary is a 2-mana 1/2 that has Fanfare. Put a random Machina card from your deck into your hand. So I like that one. This card just says Machina card. It doesn't say Machina creature, just Machina card. So which means that you can get spells, you can get amulets as well. In particular, this gives a lot of consistency to things like, say, Aggro Dragon, because right now, Aggro Dragon doesn't actually play that many Machina cards. I believe right now they just like play Byron. So you can go and like play these and either play 1 copy, so this way you have 4 Byrons, or you can play 3 copies, and this way you just either get more card draw or you just get more Byrons. That's pretty good. For the other Machina decks, like Machina Force, this is pretty good as well, just because, again, it can search you out Bagram, it can search out Mechalance, it can search out a lot of different things. So for those 2 in particular, it's going to be great. For Machina Blood, I suspect this is going to be great just because it's even more card draw than you already had before, or sorry, even more card selection than you already had before, but I don't know, because Machina Blood also enjoys playing 2/2s, so it's going to be interesting. But at least this way you actually get to keep up on cards, and that's like great. Next we have the Great Goliath. Great Goliath is a 4-mana 3/4 Fanfare, enhance 7, gain +4/+4, and then enhance 10, gain +4/+4 again. So this guy is yet another stat meatball. When you play for 10, he becomes a 11. What is that? 11/12. Yeah, it becomes 11/12 in stats. But you then just kind of laugh and cry when you get like card removal and you feel sad. So it's not that great, obviously, of course, and you're not really gonna play in constructed, because in constructed you really don't want to be playing vanilla creatures, and this is as vanilla as they come. Next we have Strategic Assembly. Strategic Assembly is a 2-mana countdown 3. At the end of your turn, give a random ally follower +1/+0, and at the end of your turn, give a random ally follower with no card effect text ward. So this guy is actually pretty interesting. So I don't like the fact that it kind of like buffs up your creature, because like ideally you want to just have this thing just like read give a random ally follower at the end of your turn ward. But because it buffs up a creature, that means you have to have at least 2 creatures in play. One of them gets the buff, and then the other. Sorry, one of them gets the attack buff, and then the other one gets the ward. Now for this card, I think literally one of the only places I can see this card being played is in our Dragon Sword Dragon deck, only because that deck does want more wards. Just because like if I'm forcing you to deal with 8/8s every single turn, and you don't have the option of, well, I'm just gonna go around it and kill you, then that becomes pretty good for the person who controls the 8/8s, and that's great. But otherwise, I don't really think this card's good. I think this card's more of a limited card. Yeah, and that will conclude the review. So, oops. So looking at like what we've seen so far, I definitely think, that big winners are definitely Shadow Blood Haven, and the Evolve package, as well as Sword. That was also a pretty big winner as well. Force is definitely gonna kind of be there, because again, Omnis is so good. It's so good. Like, what? It's so good. But definitely other things like having Roach or whatever, and now having spots dedicated to Roach is gonna hurt. For Dragon, I think got like some nice aggro cards, but I don't know how good that's going to be, and if aggro itself is going to be like a playable archetype, because you do have Techlord now, and there's definitely be more Techlords, because there's more like there's more Machina decks, so that could just come down, rain on your parade, make you feel sad. For Bloodcraft again, like I said, both Machina as well as Bench's Blood are both very, very good. For Haven, again, Alana stuff, and then for Portal, we have more Belphmet stuff for more Machinas, and then that lastly for neutrals, we have more Evolved package stuff. So I definitely think, if you're playing one of those already listed archetypes, then great, shout out to you. If you are not, well, sad face for you. But overall, the set itself is very, very crazy. I'm looking forward to playing it. It should already be out by the time these videos go live. I look forward to playing it. I'll be playing it on stream as well if you want to go and come through. I'll definitely be trying to open up a few packs on stream, not that many, but I do have a card opening stream that should be up as well, like probably later today. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys.